Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a topic that, might seem like just a purely logistical checkbox on the surface, but is actually a massive, high-stakes, strategic decision for event planners. We are breaking down how to choose the right conference venue for business events, and we're drawing on some really fantastic insights from Karsten's to do it. Because as you know, booking a room isn't just about finding four walls and some chairs, right? It's a decision that fundamentally shapes the entire trajectory of your event. So, you have to ask yourself, does your venue guarantee success? Take a quick second and think back to some of those past event nightmares you might have experienced. Because we have literally all been there. The coffee is stone cold, the room feels, well, a bit like a closet. Or worst of all, there's a massive tech failure right as the keynote speaker is walking onto the stage. No way, right? It's incredibly stressful, and it really creates massive empathy for the high-pressure role of event organizers who have to get this absolutely perfect every single time. The hard reality is this: your venue choice shapes everything. We're talking delegate engagement, presenter confidence, and the overall success of the event. Picking a purpose-built venue, one actually designed specifically for business events, rather than just, say, a repurposed hotel function room, directly dictates the punctuality, the focus, and really the seamless execution of your entire program. To make sure your next event is a total win, we're going to walk through a foolproof 5 pillars framework. Okay, let's dive into this. We'll be covering location and accessibility, room layout and environment, reliable tech and support, quality catering, and finally, transparent pricing and terms. All right, starting right off with our first pillar, location and accessibility factors. This is your logistical foundation. Honestly, your brilliant content doesn't matter at all if your attendees don't even arrive on time. When we compare central CBD locations against venues located way outside the main business district, the differences are absolutely stark. A central location gives your delegates proximity to major transport hubs and nearby business hotels. For the executive assistants and organizers handling the logistics, this means incredibly easy coordination, especially for those interstate visitors. On the flip side, venues outside the business district, they create massive logistical barriers. It introduces unnecessary friction, travel stress, and eventually late arrivals that end up delaying your entire schedule. And remember, accessibility isn't just about geography on a map. It's about the actual building itself. Professional, purpose-built venues offer totally seamless building access. We're talking level access, dedicated lift facilities, and crystal clear wayfinding. This is a huge contrast to standard hotels or serviced offices where your delegates have to awkwardly navigate these incredibly busy, noisy shared lobbies just to figure out where they're even supposed to be. Moving right along to the second pillar, room layout and environment. The physical space completely dictates how your delegates interact with the content and really with each other. Now, what's really interesting here is the math behind it. 1.5 to 2. That is the ideal floor area in square meters required per delegate to actually prevent fatigue during a full-day event. Purpose-built venues provide this critical breathing room along with things like pillar-free rooms and proper ventilation. Repurposed hotel rooms, though, they often compress attendees into these cramped spaces that become incredibly uncomfortable the minute you hit that first coffee break. Let's look at how this flows over the life cycle of a flexible room setup. A truly great venue uses modular furniture and has a dedicated setup team to adapt the room as your program changes throughout the day. You might start with step 1, a theater-style setup for a big morning keynote, then seamlessly transition to step 2, a cabaret layout for group workshops, and finish up with step 3, an open floor for interactive exercises. And the best part? You do all of this without losing any valuable program time. And when delegates finally step out of that main room, the environment still matters just as much. You really want dedicated, gallery-style breakout spaces with comfortable seating and natural light to encourage networking and that crucial informal learning. The alternative, which you unfortunately see a lot in hotels, is forcing delegates to network in these noisy, shared corridors. It completely lacks the privacy needed for actual professional business discussions. Okay, transitioning to the third pillar, reliable tech and support. This is your technical backbone. Every event planner knows the sheer, absolute panic of a tech failure. So the crucial point here is the distinction between purpose-built AV and hotel AV. Purpose-built venues have integrated audiovisual systems and dedicated on-site technicians. They can troubleshoot a software conflict instantly without you even having to pause the presentation. Hotels, on the other hand, they frequently rely on portable equipment, they charge extra fees for the absolute basics, and they often outsource to third-party contractors who might literally get across town when your microphone suddenly cuts out. You also absolutely must consider your contingency equipment. Having dedicated fast Wi-Fi for hybrid events, spare projectors, backup internet services, and redundant audio systems, these are completely non-negotiable. If you don't have these comprehensive backup provisions in place, just one primary equipment failure can cause cascading delays, and that can completely derail your very time-sensitive program. That brings us to our fourth pillar, quality catering and refreshments. Gotta sustain that attendee energy. High-quality food and drink act as essential energy sustainers for a full-day event. We are talking about continuous refreshment stations featuring things like Nespresso coffee and premium tea selections. Think about the friction caused by hotels that charge per consumption, or worse, rigidly lock away the coffee until a strictly scheduled 10:30 a.m. break. Seriously, purpose-built venues offer unlimited continuous access so your delegates can stay refreshed and focused whenever they need to without disrupting the flow of the sessions. Furthermore, your catering simply must be inclusive. Proactive dietary accommodations, vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, halal, kosher, these are a must. When a venue's in-house catering team seamlessly manages these specific requirements without making a big fuss about it, it ensures no attendee ever feels singled out. It demonstrates immense respect, and honestly, it just showcases a much more elevated level of organizational professionalism. Now, for our fifth and final pillar, transparent pricing and terms. Time to navigate the financials. Behind the scenes, we all know planners are navigating intense budget scrutiny and tough financial realities. And this brilliantly illustrates why transparent pricing is so valuable. When you compare an all-inclusive package, which clearly bundles room hire, AV, tech support, and food into one per-person cost, against a fragmented package typical of a lot of hotels, the difference is just night and day. Fragmented packages often hide extra AV fees, they separate out the room hire, and they enforce strict catering minimums. Bundled pricing entirely eliminates that budget uncertainty. It literally saves your procurement team a massive headache. Finally, you really need flexible terms to reduce your financial risk. Our source material highlights the importance of venues offering no deposit bookings for standard business days, and crucially, the ability to adjust your delegate numbers up to 5 to 7 days before the event. Actually, having reasonable cancellation policies and capacity adjustments protects you, the planner, from paying for empty seats or falling into those dreadful minimum spend traps if your business priorities suddenly shift. Which brings us to the end of this explainer, and I want to leave you with this final thought-provoking question. Is your next venue truly built for business? Because the venue you choose, it's essentially the silent partner in your event's success. I highly recommend you take this 5-pillar checklist, location, layout, tech, catering, and pricing, and apply it rigorously to your very next corporate event contract. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.